There we go. I'm learning. There we go. So yeah, man, hopefully all is good. I'm not sure if anyone's running ads currently. I've literally just launched new campaigns today. Um, so if you saw my previous video where I'm coughing my guts up, sweating, just feeling terrible, the last couple of weeks have been a little bit of a shit show in terms of viruses and everything else that's been going around Dubai. We thought we were moving somewhere warm where we weren't going to have as many viruses to deal with. We just moved to a melting pot of viruses from all around the world, it seems. So that's fun. But yeah, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the elections, Facebook in general for the last 6 to 9 months has been pretty on and off, inconsistent. So yeah, haven't really been running anything for the last week or so. Launched today. I launched Nagano Tonic weight loss because I really want to try and, oh, there's more people joining. I really want to try and get my weight loss campaigns or ads and messaging dialed in before January. What I don't want to happen is, January come round and I don't have my ad dialed in. So although maybe weight loss isn't going to be as hot in these last few weeks of December and of the year, I'm kind of just using it to maybe just get an idea of like, okay, what angles are working, and maybe we'll touch on this if I get a chance to go through the sort of testing strategies that I'm using at the moment. But it's basically, as an overview, I'm starting to really dive into market awareness stages. So like Eugene Schwartz and the market awareness funnel. So you have unaware at the top, or whichever way you look at it, unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, most aware. And what I think can be a big issue, especially when we're sort of going through these uncertain times with Facebook, is we hit the unaware segment quite a lot. So we might get, high click-through rates, but we have really low conversion rates. So I'm really trying to tailor and tweak my ad messaging, so my primary text, my video scripts, my headlines, to really hone in and target people who are a little bit further down the market awareness stage. So people who are maybe solution aware, so that they know they've got the problem and they know there's solutions out there. They just haven't found the right solution, right? So then trying not to waste as much ad dollars on people who are unaware of the problem in general, and people that are problem aware, but they don't really realize there's a solution there. So I'm really trying to figure out ways of really hitting that messaging. And that's why I want to launch the weight loss stuff now, because I see this as like 2 or 3 weeks where I can tweak my messaging and really get it in line with those segments of the market awareness funnel, ready for January when I know this creative's killing it, this messaging's killing it, this angle, this ad copy, this landing page, and now I can open it up in January when everyone's, the market's obviously increased and in market as well. So that's the idea, and I'm doing this. I want to launch prostate as well. I'm probably not going to have time today, but I want to launch prostate as well. But anyway, yeah, good to see you all. I appreciate everyone jumping on. I wasn't expecting this many people, to be fair. I was thinking we're going to get quite a few people missing it because of the time. And that's another thing I want to address. It's a real pain in the backside. And me as I'm involved or a member of multiple masterminds and courses and group coaching and have been for years. And it's always been like I've never had a time that suited me because everything was like more catered for the US. So it was either like 4 p.m. in the afternoon, which is still okay, but that's when my kids come home from school and that's when I want to see them. And then, or it was too late in the evening and, that's when I need to spend time with the missus and obviously try and spread it out. So I appreciate everyone jumping on if this isn't the most suitable time for you. I'm going to try we've got another call in 2 weeks. I haven't set the date or time yet, but that's going to be more catered for people this is too late. It's going to be more catered for those guys. And then who knows, we might play around. And as we grow and hopefully as I, help people come in and help with community management, we can maybe even introduce more calls and just try and provide as much value as possible. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Again, I really appreciate everyone jumping on. I don't know how to actually look at the chat. Oh, I do. I can see the bubble down here. Okay. All right. So I can pull this up just in case we get any questions. Good to see you guys. Mickey's, Lucio, and everyone else that's jumped on. Awesome. So any questions for those that have just jumped in, just let me know. Feel free to unmute. Feel free to just drop a message in the chat. Anyone running ads, keen to see if anyone's seeing success right now. If anyone's, seeing any profit, that would be great to know as well. I've just launched weight loss. Probably won't go live today. It probably will go live tomorrow by the time the ads are approved. But yeah, keen to see how everyone's doing, anyone that's running ads. I know last time I ran through Black Friday, Cyber Monday, it was a bit of a shit show, as is to be expected. So yeah, I'm keen to see how CPMs are looking now. I've had nerve pain on and off, as in the offer, not actually me suffering from nerve pain, but I've been running nerve pain on and off, and CPMs still look high. So yeah, I'm sort of expecting CPMs to still be crazy. So Brian, launching a campaign, what red flags do you look for? High CPMs, CPCs. Yeah, so that's a great question. Red flags, definitely CPMs are a red flag for me. Probably the number one red flag is in like ad stats when we're looking inside the ads manager. The issue is like making that decision too early can be, it's quite a critical, component, because what often can happen is, the first 100 impressions of a campaign could be super high impressions and then super high CPM. And then as you allow it to run, maybe it gets 1,000 impressions and now it's come down to like $50, $60. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes it doesn't, right? Sometimes it's just destined to be high CPMs. I think this time of year, I would, especially if you're in the US or targeting US, especially if you're targeting 65 plus, I would expect high CPMs. That would, the range would depend on what market you're after. Health in general, I would say we're definitely going to be looking at $50 plus. Weight loss, probably closer to $100. Diabetes, closer to $100, if not more. It's really strange how the CPMs differ, even though you could be broad 18 plus US and you're running, 10 different ad accounts and 10 different health offers targeting the exact same 18 plus broad, but you get a range of CPMs based on the messaging and the offer. But yeah, CPM is definitely a red flag for me that I look for. If say 1,000 impressions have gone and I'm still seeing super high CPMs where I know no matter how good the offer converts, even if we have 100% landing page click through with like a super high CTR on the ad. For instance, I think in Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I had CPMs of $250, and that's just not going to work. Like, even if the offer converts at like something stupid like 5%, which it doesn't, but even if it did, it's still going to be too expensive because I'm paying like $3 CPC, even with a good click-through rate. And then I'm paying, 50% landing page click-through rate, which is quite good. And it's going to be hard to increase that without being too clickbaity and then the conversion rate dropping, right? So yeah, I think CPMs wise, I definitely allow 1,000 impressions, and that's when I'm really making my judgment call if it's too high or not. And even that might be too low, a threshold, like 1,000 impressions might be too low to gauge an accurate decision. But it's probably, more often, it's going to be after 1,000 impressions, it's probably a little chance of them coming back down to anything reasonable. It's going to be a really interesting sort of couple of weeks. I'm keen to see how these campaigns that I launched today end up, because I am expecting them to be high CPMs. So we'll have to see. Okay, so CPMs definitely I look for, low CTRs. Yeah, I think for me, the CTR isn't as important on the ad, because some of my best ads have been quite low CTR, which for me, if I've got a high, I think I've spoke about this before, but with a high CTR, like so a lot of people are like, oh yeah, that's how you determine a winning ad. And in the testing phase, the higher the CTR, the better the ad. That just doesn't make any sense to me because, a high CTR usually means there's some element of clickbait, right? Or maybe not clickbait, but there's just like, it's too curiosity provoking, right? It's not, you don't just want people who are clicking for the sake of clicking or because like there's a naked woman or some kind of sexualized imagery or whatever, because you could have 25% click-through rate, which means you're going to get penny clicks. But they're just clicking to see a naked woman. They're not clicking to watch an hour-long VSL and then buy, $400 worth of tablets, right? So there needs to be some real a careful balance. Obviously, we still want a half decent click-through rate because obviously that's going to help, especially with high CPMs. But I really do see the optimum click-through rate at between 3 to 5%. Anything lower, I still see good ads that are lower, but they're a lot less, few and far between. And then anything higher than 5%, again, I still see good ads there that work and convert. But the real sweet spot for me seems to be, if I was to look through all of my winning ads, I would say probably a good 80% sit 3 to 5% click-through rate. And I don't know why that is, apart from it's just the right balance of, clickbait / good messaging and obviously good targeting, whatever that, a combination of all of those. Let me just jump back up to that. So yeah, low CTRs. Yeah. And can you tell us what range of metrics? Yeah. So for scaling, that's probably where I'd want to be. So CPMs, again, there is an argument to say CPMs don't matter as well as in regards to, the higher quality the audience, the higher the CPM, which, if you're bidding for purchase and you're going after purchases in a very highly competitive market in the US and you're getting high quality traffic, you should expect to pay a premium CPM. I've still got this cough lingering, so I do apologize if I end up coughing and spluttering. So, going back to the CPM thing, like if I'm seeing $60, $70 CPMs, I'm okay with that, right? I don't really have like a limit. I think anything over, I don't think there is really a limit for me for CPM. It's just got to match whatever I'm promoting. Like I know roughly what my conversion rate's going to be, especially on like a ClickBank offer. It's usually going to be like 1 to 1.5% for a good offer, and then obviously ED offers might be 0.8%. So you need to know sort of what your offer is going to convert at. You obviously need to know your payouts. You need to then estimate your ad costs and your click-through rate to then see if it's going to back out. That's actually interesting because now saying that, I think I mentioned this as well. I'm trying to put together some kind of like, not worksheets, but sort of calculators based on a Google sheet that you can sort of input your payout, input the conversion rate, blah, 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 your predicted CPM, predicted CPC, etc. And then it gives you an idea of whether this offer is worth, this is like sort of when you're looking for offers to test. I think that sort of thing could help because it allows you to sort of predict and forecast whether this offer is worth testing in the first place, right? But yeah, I think there's no real number for me. Anything over $100 is probably gonna be tough. Again, depending on the offer, how it converts, how big the payout is, because that's all gonna be relevant, right? If you've got an offer that pays out $100 and you're paying $100 CPMs with a 5% click-through rate, then that's going to be tough to make work. But if you have the exact same stats, but you have a $250 payout, well, then you might be able to make it work. So like, I think the ad costs are definitely important and metrics are important, but ultimately it's whatever the combination of everything is, right? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Obviously, as you know, I like to take my time in explaining everything and going off on tangents. So I do apologize, but hopefully that answered the question, Brian. Let me know if there's anything else missing there. Okay, Mickey S. Is warming up the ad account and page with likes and boost ads still important? Yeah, I tend to. I think it depends mainly on where you get your ad accounts from. Definitely for anything that's like a personal ad account that you're using your own BM or your mum's business manager or your sister's or your wife's or whatever. I think you definitely need to warm those ad accounts up because those ad accounts, if you launch the conversion campaign straight away, they're very likely they're going to get shut down. They might come back on an appeal, but you want to try and minimize the risk. Whereas with agency ad accounts, I think they carry a little bit more clout, a bit more weight, a bit more trust, depending on which provider you use. Obviously, there's agency ad accounts. Some of them aren't even agency accounts, right? So you have to be careful on that front as well. But I still tend to launch post engagement, page like campaign. So now you can have the engagement campaign as a whole, right? And then you can have an ad set that's page likes, an ad set that's post engagement. I still do it in pretty much every ad account that I run, just because I think it's important. And it's also, it's not just important to warm the ad account up, but it's also good for you to have that extra credibility on the page. And then what's really good is when you find winning ads, is then you can start boosting or pushing social proof and engagement to those winning ads with the post ID. Just carries a little bit more extra clout when someone sees a winning ad. Obviously, they don't know it's a winning ad when they see it in their feed, but they see an ad and it's got 1,000 loves, likes, cares, like positive engagement and some good comments. It's I really do think treating your ads like Amazon products or listings is important. I see a lot of people, or I assume a lot of people, go straight to the comments to sort of see what other people are saying. So if that post has no comments because you've deleted them all because they were all negative, or if there's just no engagement on it, they're less likely to click, or there might be a percentage of people who don't click or intend to even watch the VSL because of that, right? Because I really do think people go straight to the comments. I do myself. Like, I'll look at the comments first. If a post catches my attention, I want to see what other people are saying about it. I do the same with Amazon. I go straight to the reviews to see what people are saying about it. So I think that's important, is positive engagement to your winning ads for sure. Even though that wasn't the question, it sort of segued into it. So I apologize. But yeah, definitely post engagement, page like, just like a couple of dollars a day, just to get some. That's also another thing. When it's a brand new ad account, especially if it's that personal ad account, I don't think there's like a set amount of spend you need to spend in that ad account before you can start running stuff. I think what it's more based on is getting the first or at least one or two bills paid. So like, you could launch a campaign, a post engagement campaign, and you spend $3, and then you can manually push if Facebook hasn't already billed you, you can manually bill it, right? And then that's the first payment done. And then you could do another one like $1 later. I think it's more based on Facebook needing to know that you're actually going to pay the bills and the payment method's going to work, rather than anything like, you need to spend at least $100 in this ad account before you can do conversion campaigns. I think it's more based on you need to make a couple of successful payments, no matter the size of those payments. At least that's what I go off anyway. But yeah. All right, Alan, have you ever tried? Yes, I have. I'm not a big fan of them. I'll tell you in a minute. Let me read the rest of your question. So I don't know if everyone can see this chat, but have you ever tried credit card sweepstakes offers? What experience do you have with them and Facebook or Meta ads? I'm thinking of testing them. I heard some are having amazing and consistent results with them lately on Facebook or Meta. Yeah, so I have ran sweeps. And the reason why I don't like them is more from a point of, I can't think of the word now, but just from more of a, what's my internal feeling? I don't know what the word. I can't believe I can't think of the word, but just the way that they're a real scam, right? They're just like ripping people off. Like, there's something just doesn't sit right, and I know that's like sort of, is it? I can't think of the word for that either. But like, you know, it's rich of me to say that because I'm running dick pills but like at least, you know, an ED supplement can help someone, right? And although these ClickBank offers, they're natural supplements, they're not really curing anything, but they generally are ingredients that can help support and aid whatever, you know, illness or whatever they're experiencing. With sweeps, just for me personally, like I know a lot of guys that run them and I have no issue with them running, like I'm still friends with them, but I just prefer not to. But I have tested them in the past. And for those who don't know what they are, basically it's where you what the big craze at the moment for these credit card sweepstakes are called blanks. So there's a blank checkout page. Usually it could be based on like a Shopify theme. It looks like a Shopify checkout page or something similar. And you basically create your own page with like for instance an oversized mirror or a designer handbag or whatever it is, right? And then it's like it's free plus shipping. It's just $9.99. You know, we've got excess stock, we're giving them away, you just pay shipping, and then they go ahead and enter the credit card details, pay the $9.99, never receive the bag or whatever you've advertised, and then get pushed into some recurring billing on the back end. So it's really freaking black hat as hell. Again, like no judgment on my half. Like I just don't feel very comfortable doing it. And I have a very big feeling like, again, like we're seeing with the health stuff, I think there's going to be clampdowns coming in the next, you know, few months, maybe next 6 to 12 months. I think there could be more clampdowns. The thing with sweeps is you have to run black hat, so you have to cloak to do it, unless you find the really compliant ones, right? Because there are compliant sweepstakes ones where they do generally enter for a competition, right? And they could win. And there are winners that do win these prizes. So there are white hat sweepstakes that are compliant. I can't remember the name. There's a big brand that does it. I can't generally remember what they're called. But you'll see loads. There's like shopping vouchers, like Shein is big at the moment. Lululemon, like these women's shopping and fashion brands, like $750 vouchers. Those ones are all right because they're based more off surveys. So like they'll, you know, submit their information and then they complete surveys, and obviously it's just basically data processing. That lead is then getting sold multiple times to different buyers. So those ones are a little better because they're not actually getting scammed and getting charged. But yeah, anyway, that's just my thought process on them. That they are, but I see people crushing them as well. Like a good friend of mine is doing big numbers with them, daily numbers, like, you know, high 5, even 6-figure days. So they work really well. But yeah, that's just my thought process on it. Okay, Jim, is $50 AOV ClickBank offers? That's a really good question. So is $50 AOV ClickBank offers like the manifestation ones harder to make work on Facebook than the $130 AOV offers like health? Personally, I don't think they are. In fact, I think personally they convert better. And this is something interesting that, you know, digital offers as a whole, I think convert better. One of the great things about digital offers is it's, you know, infinitely scalable, right? Like you don't have to just run in the US or wherever the offer ships to, right? Because supplements that, you know, a lot of them only ship to US and Canada or the big 5 or 6, like the, you know, UK, Australia, New Zealand. Some of them ship to Europe, some of them ship to some of the Asian countries as well. But with digital, there's no, you know, 2-week shipping times. There's no expensive shipping charges. For instance, you know, if someone in like, you know, Singapore orders 6 bottles of supplements, I don't know how long that shipment's going to take, but it's definitely not going to take 2 or 3 days, right? So then that increases the risk of refunds, chargebacks, etc. It also could reduce the conversion rate because obviously, you know, they might make it through to the checkout page and then realize it's going to take 2 weeks and then be like, oh, I'll just buy it locally or look for it locally, right? Whereas with digital, it's instant delivery. You could be in Morocco, you could be in Singapore, you could be wherever in the world and get instant access to whatever you buy. So I really like digital offers. I really do. The reason why I haven't gone too heavy into them is because, the health stuff has just been, jumping on the health craze. My intention for this next year is to actually, depending on time and everything, is to launch some of my own offers, but digital. And in health as well. Like I see this health supplement craze sort of maybe fade out over the next 12 to 24 months. So I want to sort of maybe look at digital offers on that front as well. And I don't see too many digital offers for health right now, not new ones, right? ClickBank was all digital before this supplement craze. I think there was just Organifi. That was the only supplement that was on ClickBank before 2020 or maybe 2019 when Leptotox came out. But yeah, you think we've had a good 5 years or at least 4 years of these, multiple supplements coming out every single week. I think there's a level of fatigue that comes with that at some point. I think we touched on this as well with the health category and everything that's going to be coming into play soon as well. But yeah, to answer the question, I think I really like the digital ones. $50 AOV, obviously, because of the lower AOV, yeah, it means you need to get a lower CPA, right? But because usually the conversion rate's higher, that sort of helps offset it. But then also because you can basically go worldwide, your CPMs come down with that. I mean, you could just run everywhere excluding the US, and instantly you'll see CPMs come down. Like US is obviously the highest CPM. I would say followed by Australia. Australia always seems to be a high CPM as well. Not as high as US, but usually higher than UK, than Canada, etc. And then obviously European countries have really good CPMs, in my opinion, as do Asian countries. And I know obviously there's going to be certain countries within them that maybe have high CPMs. I think one of the best countries to run right now is Germany, especially men's health. Men's health, although I haven't got anything running right now, men's health was crushing in Germany, and that was prostate, ED, male enhancement. German market's huge, and often quite obviously still competitive, but definitely not as much competition as the US. And then with Germany as well, you've got Switzerland, Austria, places around that also speak or understand German. And that was me running English as well, by the way. So I was running English in Germany. But what you could do is you could then go and source a German offer if you really wanted to go and explore that market. All right. Yeah. So to go back to it, I think it's worth testing digital offers. I really do. I don't think they're harder to make work at all. Lower CPMs with being able to go worldwide, and then also the higher conversion rate sort of help it massively. All right. So Brian, again, how do you feel about direct linking as a practice? And separately, how important is the learning phase of an ad set? If you run CBO, do you risk low? Let me answer one at a time of this, because otherwise it's going to be too much for me to think about. So direct linking, I personally don't direct link. I know you could do now, because especially with ClickBank, because they brought the direct, most offers now have a direct link where you can go straight to the VSL. So like, naganotonic.com. That's where the VSL is. Your affiliate link can be naganotonic.com/Tom, right? Or whatever the hop ID, right? So I get it why you'd want to do that. I still feel like, one, I don't want to be running traffic to the same domain as everyone else, because if one person ends up doing something stupid, that means the rest could be sort of tarred with the same brush, right? One person ends up running an ad, a campaign to that exact link, but they've also got another campaign that's cloaking sweeps offers, sweepstakes, and then their ad account gets shut down. Facebook looks at what's going on in that ad account, sees that naganotonic.com is involved, blah, blah, blah. That could, I'm not saying it will, but I'm just saying it could end up in, all right, who else is running to this link? Maybe they're like, the same advertiser but running in different ad accounts. So that could come back and sting you in the backside. And then also, I want to have, as an affiliate, there's only so much we can control and optimize on our end to improve stats. And I think one of the most important parts is the landing page. So I think having a landing page is vital because it gives you an extra step to sort of optimize, to test, right? Instead of you just having the ad and then that's it. They go to the straight direct to the VSL. And then you lose control because it's not your offer. By having the lander, you can test. I want to test a quiz against a splash. Okay, the quiz outperformed. Now I want to test a quiz against like an advertorial. The advertorial outperformed. Now I want to test this headline against this headline. Okay, this outperformed. Now, do you know what I mean? Like now I want to test the wife story against the husband story. There's so many more things that you can test on the landing page that can help increase conversion rate and minimize risk of shutdown. Like I said before, if anyone was to, tar that domain, then obviously anyone running straight to that domain is tarred as well, right? So I'm just going to get some water. Yeah, so that is my answer to the direct link. And how important is the learning phase of an ad? So this is a good question as well. So, I mean, it's important. Like, I don't pay too much attention to it. I'm not overly bothered about ads being in learning phase or ad sets being in learning phase. Ultimately, I'm obviously wanting to spend as much as possible. So usually they're going to come out of learning phase anyway if I'm scaling. At the start, if you're only spending like $50 a day, $100 a day, and you continue to spend that much and you don't scale or you don't find winners to scale, then it just means you're just having to keep on testing ads, right? You're just stuck. You're going to be in that learning phase. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, to be fair. Sometimes I see as things come out of the learning phase, the performance drops. So like, I remember a few years ago, or when, maybe not when learning phase first came out, but definitely a good couple of years ago, it was actually better to be in the learning phase for some reason. Like having ads in the learning phase, just for whatever reason, Facebook tried harder. And you often find you'd get better results, better performance if your ads are in the learning phase. So it's not something I pay too much attention to. I know a lot of the big Facebook ad buyers who like e-com guys or whatever, they do pay attention to it, but it's not something that I've honestly paid too much attention to. I've never noticed any drastic change. Obviously, as I scale, if I'm scaling this one ad set, and it's in learning phase at $100 a day, and then by next week I'm spending $2,000 a day and it's getting a good amount of conversions, it's coming out of learning phase. Do you know what I mean? So it's nothing that I'm paying too much attention to. I don't worry or get stressed if I've got ads in learning phase. I think it's just a natural progression to sort of find your winning ads and scale them, and they naturally come out of the learning phase anyway. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much. If you run CBO, do you risk low spending ad sets? Okay, so this is a carry on to the question. Do you risk low? That's a good question as well. So again, I don't really know. It makes sense that they would, right? If you're running CBO with 10 ad sets and the budget's going to 2 of those ad sets, then it kind of makes sense that those are going to come out of learning phase while the rest stay in learning phase. But again, I haven't ever noticed any sort of direct correlation between, oh God, it's got to be because of this ad set in learning phase. Like I've never ever noticed that or thought of that, right? So I'm not saying it couldn't be, but or it can't affect performance, but I'm doubtful about it, and I've never ever had direct confirmed experience that this is 100% down to the learning phase. I've never had that. So yeah, that'd be my answer to that. But hopefully it answers your questions. Again, if it doesn't, Brian, if you need more clarity, then just add a follow on. Okay, hey bro, do you still test starting with bid caps right away on new campaigns and ads? Okay, this is a good question as well. So Yes and no is the answer to that. So my latest campaigns that I've ran, actually, this is how like all over the show I am. Today, my campaigns that I've launched are bid cap because I don't know if you saw the post recently in the group about the CBO with the multiple ads and ad sets with bid cap. That's a kind of sort of like I like to take things that I see are obviously working for other people and then see if I can tweak them. So I've sort of took that. I've applied bid caps to it. So yeah, I have launched bid caps with that one. However, my last campaign that I was running sort of neuropathy, nerve pain, I'd launched without bid caps. And it was okay, but it was low budget. It was low budget. So it was like, each ad set was, I think, started at $50 a day. And that seems to be fine. Bid caps, I really like when the budget goes high because I don't want to be reliant on Facebook trying to find me stuff. So I definitely use bid caps when I have high budgets. When I have low budgets, I still do have campaigns that I've launched in the past where I've used bid caps, even on like a $50 or $100 a day budget. But I'm also not too fussed if I'm just running highest volume. But ultimately, the goal is to get to bid caps. If I'm not starting with them, then I'm definitely planning to get to them. Because the thing is, the whole thing with bid caps is if you start and you have no data in the ad account, you've literally the first conversion ad you've ever ran in this ad account. There's no data at all. Then if you come in with a bid cap and it's just not going to spend, right? It's going to throttle because Facebook has no idea as to what the average CPA is in this ad account. They don't know what you're going to be paying a customer. So I think the best thing to do is not always, because depending on your budget, right? But if you've got quite a small budget, like $100 a day budget, that's what you're planning to spend. I would say probably best start off with highest volume until you start getting some data. And then obviously then you can start getting an idea. Okay, now over the last couple of weeks, I've had, 20 conversions at $80 per conversion. Facebook has an idea how much it's costing me. Now I can set a bid cap at $80 or $100 or whatever it is. And then Facebook's you're going to have way more chance of spending the budget and not throttling the traffic once you've got data. The alternative is go with a higher budget straight off the bat with a bid and try and force Facebook to spend. The issue there is, especially if you've got limited budget, there's a fine line between it could be the matter of a few cents of a bid. Like it could be you're bidding $99, you're not getting anything. It's a trickle of traffic, it's too slow. You up the bid to 101 and you dump the whole budget, right? So there's a fine line between you don't dump the whole budget, but like you start spending a little bit too aggressively, right? Maybe more than what you're willing. If you've got a $2,000 a day budget and you're trying to force Facebook to spend, yeah, your goal might be only want to spend $200, right? Because you're going to set a bid which is sort of throttling the traffic, but not enough to stop it completely. So you're going to maybe spend 10% of the budget. And then obviously, if you bid a little bit too high, you could end up spending most of the budget, right? If you don't catch it early enough. So yeah, there's a fine line with bid caps. It's definitely you just go easy with them, I think, is probably the better thing. Like don't go too crazy and definitely only if you're sort of bumping them up in increments, it's definitely important to sort of do it slowly and gradually. And then allow at least 3 hours before making another increase in the bid. So you increase it, nothing happens. You still don't have any traffic coming through. Wait 3 hours, again, no traffic, then increase it. Don't be doing it. 20 minutes has gone and I'm still not getting any traffic. I'm going to increase it again because that's when you will probably become unstuck. It's happened a few times to me. Okay, so yeah. To answer the question, yes and no is the answer to that. But all right, Dennis, this guy went become a vendor. Where you sending me here? So I'm opening this YouTube link. Bogdan, right? Yeah, Bogdan. So Bogdan is a vendor. He's got some great offers as well, by the way. He's the guy behind Slimming Tea, and yeah, he's got a few different offers. He's actually got some really interesting offers. I don't know if anyone's seen the septic tank, dissolvable. I don't know what you'd call it, but the septic tank cleaning tablet or whatever. I don't know what it is, but basically, it sort of falls into sort of survival slash DIY, that sort of niche vertical. I've not run it, but it looks like a great offer. I love that, like thinking outside the box type with that offer. But yeah, Bogdan's a cool dude, man. Um, so yeah, yeah. What else has he got? So he's got Slimming Tea for weight loss. He's got the Slimming blood sugar one as well. I don't know what that's blood sugar tea or something. I don't know what it's called. He's definitely got a few offers. He's been around for a bit, right? So yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head what other offers he's got, but yeah, he's a great guy, and I'm sure Slimming Tea was doing pretty good as well, by the way. So January coming up with weight loss in mind, so it kind of makes sense. Anyone that really want to jumps on that weight loss trend, that you start sort of vetting offers ready. Like I said at the beginning of the call, like I've launched weight loss today. We'll probably go live with it tomorrow. Not going to go crazy with it because I just want to get a feel. I don't anticipate being profitable or aim to be profitable. I'd like to be break even. And if I am profitable, then amazing. But my whole game plan is to launch and test like 100 ads before January to then real and angles, texts, headlines, landing pages, to then have a real good idea of, 5, 10 winning ads where I can scale come January 1st, right? Even the day after Boxing Day, start scaling because people are already like, everyone's rolling around fat from the turkey or whatever. So it's like prime time to be like, what I don't want to happen is I don't want to come to January 1st and like, right, let's test some ads. And like, I can sort of cut that time away now. The only thing that I can't really start playing around with, which I really do like in January, is having the New Year's angles or New Year's resolution hooks and angles, because obviously that is the biggest play. But what you can do is you can just refer back to last year, right? So you can say like this is what I did last New Year's, blah blah blah. This was the exact method, ritual, whatever. That kills, man. That really kills. And I'm seeing way more men buying weight loss as well. So that's another sort of tip. If CPMs are still high, target men. Men are usually half the cost of women in terms of CPM, or at least a good 40% less. So and convert just as well, in my opinion. Obviously, I think demographic and scalability, women, there's going to be way more scale, but there's still a fuck ton of men that want to lose weight. And for something like Nagano Tonic, I don't know if anyone's watched the VSL, but that's a man's story. That's talking about a man's weight loss story, or at least the version that I was running is anyway. So it sort of makes sense, right? All right. So Alan, do you know any marketplace where I could find German? So Digistore is probably the best place to look because they're obviously German. I know there's a lot of German offers on Digistore. I don't know if there's any that are German like supplements, but it'd be a good place to look. Failing that, I would check out OfferVault. I don't know if you can sort of filter on OfferVault by language. You could, well, you can definitely filter by country. So that's something else I'd try is maybe going on OfferVault, selecting health category, and then trying to see if you can overlay that with like Germany or German speaking. Trying to think if there's anything else. And then apart from that, what could be a good idea is going on ads library, looking at ads running in Germany, typing in keywords in German for weight loss or fat or calories or whatever, right? Or whatever niche you're looking at. That'd be the type of things that I'd be thinking about if I was looking to go down that route. All right. But Digistore is full of German offers.
What? Pretty.
Oh, I'm just gonna okay, Jim, can you talk about ads that give away free reports, but put people on the list and market to them through email and back end? Yeah, I mean that's a good question as well. So the reason that, like, I think a lot of people should potentially think about this, but I don't think it's a good idea to go down this route straight away. List building. I think it's amazing and definitely something people should at least aim to get to. The reason why I don't think we should do it straight off the bat is because quite often the let's say the email opt-in, okay, so the conversion rate to get an email is, let's say on average 20%, right? 20%. So if our CPMs and cost per clicks are still all the same, then we have, 20%. Let's say our normal click-through rate on a land is 40%. So we sort of halve our traffic, right? In the fact of people seeing the offer, because then they enter their email, and the natural thing to do then would be to push them to the offer. And then, they either buy or they don't. I think when you're starting out and, budgets may be a little bit tighter and, you're sort of just wanting to learn and sort of develop skill sets, I think personally, the better option is to sort of go straight to the offer, as in, go to the landing page and then the offer. So don't build an email list. One, you'll usually see it's easier you'll make more money initially. I'm not saying you won't make money off the email list, but that could be, 3 months, 6 months down the line before there's real money coming from that. So then that goes back to, well, do you have enough money to float this to, sort of build, keep on building your email list? And obviously not everyone's going to buy. And then, do you know what I mean? Whereas I think initially it should be just more focused on generating profit, generating revenue, building that revenue and cash flow. And then when you're like, okay, well, this campaign's running at, $1,500 a day. It's been running at this for a while. I'm scaling it up. Then it's like, I'm going to test like building an email list. But because you've got that money coming in and maybe you've got a little bit, of a heavier float, I'd be more comfortable to sort of do that, because I've built email lists in the past and I can tell from experience, there's a longer cycle. Like it takes longer to sort of build that revenue. Like it isn't just coming, immediately. The one thing that I do like about email opt-ins is, what I do find is there's a slightly higher conversion rate on people that opt in with their email over just clicking a button, right? And like that is more intent. But going back to my earlier point, it doesn't offset, like it's not high enough to offset the expense and the lower click-through or opt-in rate, right? Hopefully that makes sense. It's sort of making sense in my head, but I can see how it could be a bit confusing. So my advice would be, it depends on what stage you're at and how much budget you have. Because again, higher budget, then it might be worth considering. But I still think when you're learning, and maybe this isn't your forte, you don't have, and I could be completely wrong, by the way. I'm not saying this specifically to you, but if you're new to media buying and Facebook ads, I think the better option would be to develop that skill set by pushing more traffic through to the landing page, through to the offer, so then you can understand the numbers and the metrics better, rather than reducing that traffic because your email opt-in's 15%. So now you're only getting 15% of people through to the offer, and now it's taking you 3 times as long to sort of get that data to then determine whether the offer's dead or not, right? Or worth chasing. So again, like that's just my input there, but I think that would be my advice. But I definitely think it's a good shout. I just think it's like, for most people, it should be like a later stage shout. All right. What is a healthy CTR range for a lander? Jim's answer, yeah, that's yeah, Jim's on the money, 40 to 50%. And yeah, 60% is great. Again, it depends on what type of lander, right? Like I usually run one of three landers, and that's, splash page, which is like very, most of what you see in the spy tools, which is headline, big image, paragraph of text and button. So it's like pretty much all above the fold, even on mobile, most of it's above the fold. And then I wrote, which has a higher CTR, right? Because there's less to consume. It's more obvious what they need to do is click to go through to the next step. Then I run like sort of like a blog style, which again are quite popular on Facebook ads, which is more in line with a story. It's more long form. It might start with like, a picture of the woman before the weight loss and then, lead into a story and then into the solution. They convert really well, by the way, but it might have a lower CTR. So like, whereas the splash page might be 50%, the blog style might be 40% or maybe 35% sometimes, depending on the market, depending on how, the ad and the landing page resonate. It all sort of links with each other, right? It's why it's really important to be, keep everything congruent and relevant. There's no point in being like talking from the perspective of a man on the ad and then going to a woman's story on the lander, right? You want to try and be congruent where you can. And then also congruent with the offer. That's going to see an increase in conversion rate as well. And then the third one I run is quiz. And I think it's still my favorite to this day. And really, I don't run enough of them. I try and test a quiz with pretty much most campaigns that I run. It's by far been the biggest most profit been drawn from the quizzes that I've ran for sure. The issue is they can have lower click-through rates because not as many people, complete the quiz. So like on a normal quiz, you might have an average click-through rate of 35%, right? Again, and by the way, this is just like me saying based off my experience. I know there can be guys with quizzes that are getting 50% click-through rate, but I also know there could be guys getting 10% click-through rate, right? So there's no exact number. You just got, what I find with everything is there's a balance, right? So there's no right or wrong, yes or no. It's a balance. Like the splash page, you get more traffic, but a lower conversion rate, right? The blog, you get a good balance of traffic and a better conversion rate is what I usually see. The quiz, you get less traffic, but a better conversion rate. So it really all depends. The reason why I like the quiz is because I really like sort of twisting the knife with questions. And there's going to be new content in this new structure that I'm doing with the course. Specifically for quizzes. Like I really love playing around with answers. And this goes back to the question earlier with direct linking. When you direct link, you skip this step. You can't play with this step. I had when I started running ED, we ran through a quiz, and one of the biggest determining factors or biggest needle movers, we had a massive boost of ROI from this one change to a question. Basically, the question was multiple choice, and it was how many times do you want to have sex per week? It was an ED offer, right? And it was like, 1 to 2. It was 4 options. We changed that to remove the multiple choice and have it as an input box. So they manually input how much they want. So they had to type it in and submit, right? Hit enter to move to the next step. That one change like boosted ROI by like 12%, which doesn't sound huge, but it's fucking massive when you're running 50K a day, right? It's a big boost. So it's that type of thing that I'll always run a lander as an affiliate, because that type of thing has a huge impact. Whereas without the lander, I don't have that impact. like I'm just depending on whatever the vendor's doing on the offer to sort of improve conversion rate. Whereas I can manipulate conversion rate with what I do on the landing page. And that can be from the different types of lander to what I'm doing inside each lander as well. And I really do like quizzes because you've almost got like 4 or 5 different parts, right? You've got the opening question, which is always needs to be like a really yes or no answer, like male or female, right? Like really simple. Like that first question, every time when that first question is brain dead simple, we see on average like 85 to 90% of people who answer the first question go on to answer the rest of the questions and complete the quiz. So making that first question as brain dead simple as possible is like paramount, really important. Don't have a confusing question or a question that they have to think about on question one, because then you're going to see a drop off. Like not as many people are going to answer question one, right? But where you make it dead simple, I always see 85% go on to complete the quiz, which is huge, right? That's massive. So making that as easy as possible. You want as many people to take question one as possible, because that means you're going to have as many people as possible complete the quiz. All right, so I know that's gone off on a tangent as well, but yeah, Jim answered the question. I just added to it. But all right, Jim again. I wanted to become a vendor on CV for a supplement. Do you know a supplement manufacturer? Yeah, so for the big name. So Ship Offers is probably the number one. So Ship, SHIP for Papa, Offers. Really good guys, like super good company. They've just opened Europe, so their primary filming centers are in the US. They've just opened in Amsterdam in Holland or somewhere in the Netherlands. So they've got access now to Europe. They shipped to Europe from the US, but obviously that would be like what we talked about before, added on shipping times, right? Whereas if they're shipping directly from Europe, it's going to be a lot quicker to get to the UK. Like literally, you could have that like within 1 or 2 days, right? So they've just opened in Europe, which means that market's like prime. There are other ones. Ship Offers is definitely the one that I would say is probably the best. I don't have direct experience, by the way. I know the guys, but I don't have like I've never used them as a vendor. I know the guys that I JV with do use them, Ship Offers. There is another one, and I can't remember their name. It might come back to me as we move through, but you know, there's 2 or 3 that are really popular with the ClickBank guys. Ship Offers probably the number one. They integrate with ClickBank, they integrate with BuyGoods, MaxWeb, Digistore, wherever you host your offer. Yeah, they're probably the number one guys, I would say. Jetpack. Sorry, I was just like really hiccuping then. Jetpack is the other one that I was thinking of. Again, no direct experience with them, but those would probably be the 2 big ones that you'd want to talk to and get quotes on. All right. And by the way, just on that topic as well, for anyone else interested, so I can tell you that Ship Offers, I don't know exactly Jetpack, but Ship Offers have what they call, I think they're called on demand, which is basically pre-done supplements. So like white label supplements. So they've got nerve pain, they've got weight loss, they've got like a whole catalog of on-demand supplements, which are basically drop shipped. Like you just put your brand, your sticker on them, and they go from anywhere from $2 to $5 a bottle. So you can see the margins, right? If you're selling them for $69, obviously without advertising costs and you know all the costs of building a VSL and everything else. But you can get an idea for the margins. Like there are a few dollars for a bottle. Custom formulas obviously more expensive because they actually have to customize them. But yeah, the on-demand stuff, which is already pre-done, pre-packaged, there's no MOQ, no minimum order. You could sell one and ship it, and that's it. Whereas with custom formulas, you're usually looking at least 500 to 1,000 MOQ and probably at least $6 to $8 price range per bottle. So there we go. All right. Yeah. So Jim, what's a good Quizlander plugin platform? So for me, we use HTML. So literally just have a developer that builds them in well, I mean, it doesn't even build them. We have a clone now. We've got the mini. We just use the exact same template and just switch out the questions, maybe switch out the colors and the branding, depending on the offer. But for softwares, I think ClickFunnels is probably the only one that I can think of. I know there's tons out there, but Convertri, the downside to Convertri, it doesn't have an inbuilt way of doing quizzes. You can do it, but it's an absolute ball ache. But there's a way that you can add layers and then the layer disappears on click and then another layer appears. It's an absolute shit show. I can't figure it out. So Convertri do have a quiz software called Quizatry, but it's terrible. And for some reason, Convertri have never added that to their arsenal of features, which is a shame. So yeah, for me right now, I don't use any specific landing page builder that has a quiz, but ClickFunnels would be the one that I have used before. That's quite easy to use. What else is there? Perspective is a new funnel builder that I see bouncing around. Someone actually shared the name of something. I can't remember what it was recently in the group, and I can't remember what it was called. Was it Swipe Funnels? Swipe. Yeah, I can't remember what it was called. So, but yeah, I think most landing page builders do have like a quiz feature, apart from Convertri. System. So Lucio says System or System. I don't know how to pronounce that. That's definitely one that I'm seeing more and more of. I've never used it, no direct experience with it, but I definitely see people using it. I think it's potentially a cheaper option to ClickFunnels, but I have no idea if that's the case or not. I don't know the pricing, but there you go. There's another option. Free. There we go. Well, that is the perfect option. There we go. Okay. Given the rumor about Meta is going to be difficult running these health-related ads from next year on, what are other ways out there to promote these offers? Or as you said, digital offers, maybe native? Yeah. All right. Yeah. So it's definitely going to be potentially rocky. There's definitely, it makes sense to sort of just prepare for a rocky Q1, potentially the full year. I believe there's going to be opportunity come from this, but I think we might be on a rocky boat for a period of that time. But in saying that, like I also think there's going to be ways for it. Like there's going to be, there's no way Facebook can just shut down the whole health ad, right? Like that's just going to be such a massive blow to their revenue. If they do that, it's insane. Like that's mental. If they, I know they're going to put restrictions in place, and it's going to be a little bit tougher, and there might be more rejections, and maybe shutdowns might happen a little bit more often. But for them to be like blanket, no, you can't run this, and we won't allow it. I just can't see that happening. I can't, because Facebook will be so in the hole. Like maybe the elections might have carried them this year because of obviously the amount of money being pumped in from political ads. It might not reflect as much on like loss of earnings from the absolute shit show that the rest of us have been seeing. But come next year, there ain't no political ads running. Like come the end of the quarter or whatever, earnings is, the board are going to be set, if they're not getting paid their dividends or stock increases or whatever, then they're not going to be happy, right? So we'll see. It's going to be interesting, super interesting. I'm excited to see what Q1 brings. Sort of, the unknown for me. Like I honestly don't know. It's going to be rocky, is what I think is going to happen. But I also think we're going to be able to make things work. Like I think we see a better run than what we've seen for the last 9 months. I really do think we're going to see a better 2025 than we did 2024. So I'm optimistic, but we'll see. Following on from that, leading on from the rest of your question, there's actually other places where we can run ads. Yeah, Rev Content and native ads, MGID, AdsKeeper. These are all native ad networks, Taboola and Outbrain. We can run ClickBank offers on all of these networks, these platforms, and they do well. They crush. The one thing about native is it's a bit of a longer game. Like it isn't, with Facebook, you can launch a campaign and sometimes you can see, a heavy ROI or ROAS on day one, right? Whereas with native, although you can still see profit, it's usually much more drawn out because you might need to optimize for 2 weeks. Basically, with native, you're running a lot of the time across hundreds, if not thousands, of placements or widgets or whatever the network calls them. And basically, the whole game plan is to whittle down those placements by turning them off, giving each one X amount of spend or clicks, turn them off when they don't result in, when they meet that and it's outside of KPI, and then obviously be left only with placements that are converting and obviously running on those. The good thing about native is it's a lot more consistent. Once you've whittled down and you've sort of, been able to optimize your campaign, way more consistent. But it can be a little bit of a grind, right? It can be a little bit more, float needed over like a Facebook ad campaign. You might need 5 to 10K to really get a consistent offer going to scale on native, because you need to work your way through these placements, right? You need to work your way through the IDs, the publisher IDs, the widget IDs, or whatever else they're called. But there is good news, and that is part of the plan, is to bring out some training on native ads hopefully within the next month. So I am running some Rev Content stuff. For those who have seen me on YouTube before, who have followed my YouTube channel, will remember that I think I started a journey on Rev Content, and it's funny how it's come full circle, and now I'm back on Rev Content, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. I'm still heavy, or will be heavy, on Facebook again. Obviously, the last couple of weeks have been slow, but yeah, Rev Content. I've been enjoying getting back into that. Not a lot's changed there. It's pretty cool. Like, I can't really remember what type of numbers I was doing back in the day on Rev Content. It was nothing serious. I think I maybe did a couple of $1,000 days. But man, it was super consistent. It was really consistent. So yeah, looking forward to getting back to that. Definitely going to be running some weight loss in January on Rev Content. The really good thing about native, and I'm referencing Rev Content a lot, is because it's, in my opinion, one of the easiest to sort of learn the process of media buying on native. I know AdsKeeper is quite easy as well. The thing I don't like about AdsKeeper is I personally think that you need a little bit more budget to find winners. MGID is good as well, but Rev Content for me is the perfect beginner's place. The downside with Rev Content is scale. I think personally, you can get a good 4-figure day, maybe even 5-figure day. I've never had one on Rev Content, but obviously I jumped to Facebook when I was running on Rev Content. But the real scale is on Taboola and Outbrain. So, but obviously, again, more competition, way more placements, widgets, publisher IDs, so a lot more budget needed. But Rev Content's a great place to be generating, a couple of sales a day. So that's the plan, is to bring out like a masterclass on native ads, Rev Content specifically, to help people get started with that, and then go from there. Okay, so works well. I'm gonna have to go back up because I don't know where the questions. Okay, yeah, system. Native ads, man. Yeah, that's where I started, and that was because I thought Facebook. I didn't want to get all my ad accounts banned, because I'd been running the agency, right? I was running a lead gen agency for home services, so I really didn't want to get my ad account shut down, because I'd tried ClickBank before, Facebook ads, and I'd been shut down within like $200 of spend, so I didn't have that bit down pat. So I was like, I can't risk my business manager and my agency, that depend on my business manager. So I went to Rev Content, and that's when I started making, my first commissions. But then I was like, well, I want more scale, so I need to go to Facebook. So that's how it happened. Okay, Paul, can you show us an example of a quiz template that works well? Like how many questions we need? Let me see if I have access real quick. I'll show you one of the ED ones that we run as a template. I'm just going to pop it in the chat, by the way, as well. So, let me see if this works. This might be an old one, but I think it'll be pretty, yeah, Alphatonic. So this will be an old one from a couple of years ago, but it's very similar to what we'd be running now. Yeah, okay, let me pop this in chat. Super simple. This is a HTML page, right? But yeah, question. Oh, how do you get to question one? Go back. So like age range, right? So just a real brain dead. Like everyone knows how old they are. What's your age range? So like this, male or like gender, male or female. Like yes or no answers. Something that no one needs to think about. Like it's just super simple. Like there's no need to be like what's the square root of like 44 or anything like that. Just like dead simple. Yes or no. And then, like I said, 85% of people who answer question one answer the last question. So usually we'll run 4 to 5 questions. It depends, but usually that's where we're around, 4 to 5 questions. Now, the really good thing about quizzes as well, and we don't really do it with this one, but when we started running more aggressive offers, more male enhancement, so like bigger dicks, right? The real way that we ran without cloaking was we ran a multi-page quiz. So instead of all 4 questions on the same page, we ran each question as a separate page. So question 1 would be page 1, 2 would be page 2, 3 page 3. So like we'd have 5 questions and a thank you page. So that'd be 6 pages, as in 6 unique page URLs that a user or a prospect would have to go through before they get to the offer. Meaning all of the automatic review bots only ever went, I think, 1 or 2 pages deep to look at redirects. So that was a good way of hiding the offer, right? So like we had a super aggressive offer, we could hide it behind 6 pages of quiz instead of it just being directly behind a splash page or behind like a quiz thank you, right? Worked super well. I don't know if it still work like that, but yeah, I mean, I've been running or have ran male enhancement offers through this like 2-step quiz, which is, all the questions on one page, then the thank you page, then the offer. So it's like 3 steps, right? And it seems to be working. I ain't seen too many bans. Okay. So, and I've got some like anyone that's into that sounds a bit weird saying into male enhancement, but anyone that's interested in male enhancement and men's health offers, I think I mentioned this before. Part of the vision is to have a network, an Ad Profits network, which I've set up. I just need to finish off a few things. It's just an Everflow. But one of the partners on there is super heavy in male enhancement and men's health. Some of the male enhancement offers are like partnered with adult film stars, so they're super high quality and very, very. I don't know, like they I guess what's the question where you recognize, right? A lot of guys like on freaking porn sites or whatever, they're gonna recognize who these guys are, right? So there's credibility, there's authority, and these offers crush. All right, so yeah, anyone that's interested in that, those are going to be coming out pretty damn soon. Okay, I'm just going to have to scroll back up. So Patrick, awesome. What software did you use to create it? So this quiz is HTML. So what we did, I can't remember if we had this on ClickFunnels or somewhere else like that. We had it somewhere, and the thing that I don't like about ClickFunnels is the page load. Or it might be better now, but a couple of years ago it was very slow and buggy, and it's a reason why I don't really like Go High Level as well, which I know a lot of people like, is because it's bulky and bloated, and I don't like the load time. And you can see for most people, this is super fast, this quiz. Like it's instant, right? Click the button, next question, right? Whereas with ClickFunnels or with these other landing page builders, it can be sometimes a bit of a delay or, and I'm not saying that they're anything bad, but with ClickFunnels, we were noticing there was a lag. We switched to HTML. So we basically just asked a developer from Upwork to basically rip the quiz and, upload it into our hosting. And it did, and it improved the click-through rate massively. So yeah, it goes to show how important page load time is. I don't think the ClickFunnels one was too slow, but it was like maybe, close to 2 seconds, whereas this was, under a second. So page load is definitely important. And also has a factor or a contributing factor or an effect, whatever, on CPMs as well. If you've got a bloated page with lots of code and it takes a few seconds to load, that could be a reason why you see high CPMs, right? Whereas if, something fast and quick, you can often see a lower CPM in the right, the right market. Obviously, at this time of year, I don't think low CPMs are such thing. Lead gen is good to try too with the new policies. I've seen some guys showing. Yep, lead gen is definitely hot in Q4 with the ACA and Medicare, but I know those guys have been seeing new restrictions there, and I think more to come in next year. But lead gen's hot, man. Like I got a friend who does ACA, but he does a few other things as well. He does a lot of mass tort, like as in personal injury and like these well, not personal injury, mass tort as in like Roundup and these like what was a big one, Camp Lejeune with the toxic water at a military camp in the drinking water, priest abuse. They were testing the Diddy offer with this Diddy P Diddy, like that there was some offer coming out about anyone that's been whatever by P Diddy. That was an offer that they were testing. So mass tort's a real interesting space, but and super high CPAs as well, by the way, super high payouts. Like a case to a lawyer is worth potentially freaking tens of thousands, right? So they're willing to pay. Like I think because I was doing mass tort and personal injury when I had my agency, my lead gen agency, and we would charge $400 for a call, like to take an inbound call. So yeah, that was those guys will pay, but scale, cap, quality. That's the issue with lead gen. Is I did lead gen as an affiliate as well when I sort of transitioned from the agency, and the two big things for me was cap. So like if an offer has we can only accept 1,000 leads a week, and you've got 10 affiliates, that's 100 leads each, right? And that might not be enough. Now, what you can do is you can just go to different networks and get the same offer or a similar offer to then rotate into your tracker to increase your cap, right? Then the other thing is quality. So obviously the quality needs to back out. Like someone's buying that lead and selling something to them, whether it's a roof, whether it's an insurance plan, whether it's a Roundup case, whatever it is, right? They're selling something to them. So the lead needs to back out, meaning they need to be of good quality. And the issue that you see at the minute is a lot of aggression in the ads because of the ad costs, right? The only way to really get cheaper clicks is to try and get, these political angles. I remember Joe Biden was, the deep fakes of Joe Biden on about car insurance, auto insurance, or something like that. I can't remember what it was now that I saw, but yeah, I think auto insurance has been really crushing for a lot of people as well. But yeah, that's I love lead gen, but I don't like being told that I'm not allowed to run that offer now. Like I don't like being told that I need to stop running that ad because the quality is not backing out. Like I want to be able to run and scale to 6 figures a day without someone breathing down my neck. So I'm not saying lead gen is like that, but you definitely will get hit by the affiliate manager if you're running too aggressive. And obviously, you know, that can really scupper your campaign. But all of that said, it's still freaking, you know, like you say, this guy's doing silly numbers. So it definitely could be worth looking at for sure. And it's a really interesting business model, especially if you can capture the data yourself and you can build your own data, or like sort of network. What we started doing when we were running home services as an affiliate is we built our own custom form and API'd the lead to the buyer. So then, you know, the buyer, the lead was going through the form anyway, right? Whether it was our form or the affiliate offer form. And so we would capture all the details and then API the lead as if the lead had completed the affiliate form anyway. So as far as they knew, that the form was completed, right? And then obviously we had the lead as well. So we could build our own lead database. And then, you know, there's a million and one ways to monetize. Then, like, there's a lot more restrictions coming into play now, as in you can't resell leads, or I can't remember what it is, but there's something coming into play very soon, if not already, where in your messaging, so what used to happen, and I apologize about maybe not being too clear on this or going back and forth, is if you were generating leads for, let's say, a roof replacement company, that buyer, like, let's say, what are they called now? Bloody hell. I can't remember the name, but this big lead aggregator, big lead buyer, home fucking, I can't remember what they're called. But like, they would buy the leads from people like us who would generate them, or affiliate networks, and then they would sell that lead to 4 roofers in that area. So they'd sell the lead 4 times, right? As a fresh lead. And then 2 months down the line, they'd sell it again at a cheaper rate, and again and again. And like, you just keep remonetizing that lead. So the first time you sell it, you maybe have to sell it for $50 times 4. Then the next time you sell it, you can sell it for like $5. Then the next time it's $1. The next time it's 10 cents. But like, that's how they like maximize their AOV. But now you can't do that. Now, as a lead generator or as like a buyer, there's only one person that can contact the lead. Now, I don't know if that's in force now or if it's coming into force, but it's definitely going to happen. So that sort of throws a spanner in the works as an affiliate, because that means potentially the payouts are either going to be lower, or maybe the payouts will be higher. I don't like, there's a way of, there's something's got, like with everything, right? We're seeing changes all the time. It's going to throw a bit of a spanner. There will be ways around it, but yeah, it's just one of those things. But all right, let's move on. So brand awareness. So brand awareness is not needed on this quiz. Yeah. So I don't think. I mean, you could. That's a great question, Paul. Like, you could add testimonials to add more proof and credibility to the quiz. For me, I want less distraction. I want, you know, them to go through the quiz, and I want them to, you know, read the questions, and like, them clicking the answer is them admitting to something, right? I don't want them to get distracted by a testimonial that they then go and read or watch, and then they forget why they're there, and then they click off, right? I want them to complete the quiz. So for me, I want less distraction. But that's just personal preference. Like, it could be worth testing testimonials because you might see an increase, right? You might see a boost. Definitely on the thank you page would be a good place to put one for sure, right? So the thank you page, you could definitely, like, we went quite, you know, vague, just like headline and button, but you could definitely play around with that. So it's actually a good test to play with. So like brand logo, yeah, I wouldn't ever put like logos or anything like brand on the quiz, but there, I like that testimonial idea for sure. That could work. Jim, really appreciate the call. You're very welcome, Jim. More than happy to answer whatever questions, and Brian as well. I appreciate you guys. All right, so any more questions? I'm starting to get a claggy throat. Leave it up for a minute, see if there's any more questions. My intention was to do a little bit of content because I wasn't expecting this many people. So I really love the fact that so many of you jumped on, and I massively appreciate it. But I think we'll round it up. and end it there about an hour and a half in, 90 minutes in nearly. Yeah, man, I enjoyed it. That was cool. I like the Q&A. I think we'll spend a few minutes while anyone else has got any last minute questions. Just spend a few minutes just like going through again my vision for ad profits going forward, especially into the Q1 and Q2. So the game plan is one of the biggest things I want to do is to bring in the network. And with that network, I know not everyone will want to use the network, which is absolutely fine. But with that network, I am working with vendors. Some of them are already on ClickBank, but some are not and have no intention of doing it, but have fucking awesome offers, but they run it internally. Okay, so you'll never see that offer on ClickBank. However, I'm working with these people in trying to help, well, at least two of these offers, trying to get them onto Ad Profits Network. If they'll, I'm still trying to sort of persuade them into it being a good choice. But that's really what I envision the network is a place where, you know, there's exclusive offers, because as an affiliate, that is one thing that can help make or break a campaign is the offer, right? And if you've got 300 other affiliates promoting the exact same offer, although there's still money to be made, it becomes very competitive. You've got people ripping your ads, you've got people like taking your customers, you're fighting for that next customer. An exclusive offer can freaking change the game. Now, obviously, Ad Profit, like if we have 1,000 members in Ad Profits, then potentially that brings 1,000 people. But I think what we'll do is we'll probably limit how many people can run it. Because I really do want that to be a USP, is that I've been able to vet, test, prove this offer, and we have it exclusive to Ad Profits members only. And let's say, you know, 5 people at a time can test it. Obviously, I'd like to have multiple offers like this. So like, you know, to give everyone a chance of running something exclusive. That's an idea, right? And again, that's not like laid out in stone. But I think exclusivity is huge. Like that is really where you can get a good scaled campaign. So that's one thing that I really want to push for in the coming weeks is to get the network going and to have not only the exclusive offers, but also offers like Nagano Tonic, like Prostavive that I'm JV'd in, but at a higher payout. So higher than what you'd get from ClickBank, higher than what you'd get from BuyGoods, MaxWeb, wherever they are. So that's the intention there. And then also, I want to really, so again, I mentioned this earlier on, add a second call to the month. I just wanted to test this out. And to be honest, I didn't know how it was going to be. I didn't know if anyone was going to turn up. So I massively appreciate everyone that turned up. So I think this, you know, proves that this was definitely worthwhile. So a second call to start with, but then maybe going into February, because January I'm quite busy, but February, maybe January, if I can swing it, maybe move to a weekly call as well. And the intention would be, I mean, to help, you know, because I'm only one person at the minute, to bring in help to either help with calls or whatever it is, community management, that then allows me more time, because I'm trying to balance media buying, because I need to keep my finger on the pulse with buying ads. So then I have up-to-date content to feed into Ad Profits. And then also to be able to, you know, there's courses out there. I'm not mentioning any names. There's some freaking really good courses and coaches out there. But there's also people out there that have outdated things that probably, you know, they themselves last ran an ad maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And things have changed since then. And I'm not, you know, mentioning names or anything like that. And I'm not throwing shade on anyone. But I really think, you know, in order to teach ads, media buying, like you need to be in the trenches. Like you can't do this as theory. Like it has to be, you know, practical and like in the trenches. So now ads are back up as of today. Hopefully I don't know if we're going to have anything, you know, really to dive into, because I'm not planning on going too heavy until January. But come January, I really want to go heavy and, you know, potentially even have like a live call every week or every 2 weeks where it's just going through campaigns. and then Q&A calls and maybe like specific topics. That would be the vision. Okay. I really want to sort of like bring Ad Profits to be like, you know, a go-to for community and education, specifically for this style of affiliate marketing with Facebook ads and potentially native ads as we look at bringing them in. So yeah, those are the two big ones that I want to sort of start introducing. So I'm excited, and I hope you are too. But yeah, let's wrap it up there. I appreciate every single person that jumped on this call, and everyone that's jumped into Ad Profits community as well. I appreciate you putting up with me for the last few weeks. I know I've been quiet and I'm not really too involved or new things coming, but yeah, that's gonna change massively. I'm definitely feeling a bit better, and yeah, I'm excited. This has been a good call. I appreciate all your questions, and yeah, let's chat soon. I'll see you in the community. Cheers, guys. I'll have the recording uploaded. Give me a day, tomorrow at some point. Cheers, guys.